Welcome to the High Performance Fatherhood Podcast, a podcast focused on helping dads move from fear-driven responsibility to high-performance fatherhood. I am your host, Troy Woods. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the High Performance Fatherhood Podcast. I am your host, Troy Woods. Got an interesting show for you guys today. Something I wanted to share with you guys that was on my heart as a father, and just kind of give you guys some updates as to what's been going on. I'm excited. First of all, we're going to start with the updates. I'm excited because our new website is done. Version 2.0 of the 300 Fathers website is complete, sort of. Being in the tech space for many years, I still consider myself to be in the tech space. I know that when you have projects like this, they're never really done, right? They're never really done. So I am at a place where I feel we felt good launching it. We know that there are going to be continual updates. That's one of the benefits of building something in-house, is that you can update it as you see fit. But the look and feel of the website is it's what it is right now. I'm very pleased with it. I think it gives off the feel for what it is that we're trying to do here with this project. So one thing I wanted to share that with you. Also wanted to tell you guys, whether you're looking at this on YouTube or you're catching clips on Instagram or wherever, stay tuned because we're going to start putting out some information to our email list. Guys, like, I love social media like the next person. It's great for business, but it can also be a curse for business, meaning, and I've told this to people before, you don't own your content, right? None of us really own our content. We put stuff up here on these quote unquote free platforms, and most of these platforms now are pay to play, meaning if you really want your audience to see the content that you're creating, you're going to have to pay for it, right? But I'm not going to stop posting on social media, but in case that we have another outage or kind of the content I'm going to get into today, something happens, I feel as though I'll be comfortable being able to reach out to you guys and share with you information that I need to share with you guys as we're moving forward. So be on the lookout. I'll be getting that out here shortly. Again, I won't spam you guys or anything like that. Just send out updates at least once a month. Maybe twice, but I just want to make sure that I can reach out to you guys when I need to. So let's get into the topic of what today actually is. I themed this podcast episode preparation. I can't lie, like the rest of the world, I've been looking at and watching the things that are happening in Ukraine and, watching videos of the jets and bombers flying over the city, seeing video of a biker who was killed because a bomb landed right beside him. Seeing those things really, it disturbed me. And I began to wonder as a father, like, okay, how do you prepare for something like this? See, we have the awesome opportunity, for those of us listening from the U.S., we have the awesome opportunity to live in a free world where we don't even really think about those things. Well, I've been around long enough, and I've been involved with enough things prior to what I do now to know that there's more going on than what we actually think. I'm not going to get too deep into it on this episode, but I do believe there are a lot of things in place to kind of lull us to sleep. We're really big on entertainment, reality. We want to be in everybody's business and see what they got going on. And at the same time, there are things happening behind the scenes that we're not aware, many of us are not aware of. And so what happens is we get to a point where things happen and then we freak out. We go buy all the water and the toilet paper, right, for instance. And what we've gone through over the last couple of years with this pandemic, do I think it's the last thing? Absolutely not. I think in some ways it was a test, to kind of, it was very real, but I think at the same time they were watching how we responded to things. And again, that's going to be another topic. So in talking about preparation, which I guess you can use that as well, I want to get back to this video that I saw of this Ukrainian dad that was saying goodbye to his family. They were getting on a train. They were going to a safe zone somewhere in Ukraine. His daughter was crying. He was crying. It was really heartfelt. I posted it on Instagram, posted it on Facebook, and I can't begin to think about how does that work, right? Because we don't think about those things because our country is really surrounded by water on three sides, and then we have Canada up north. We don't, we pretty much feel like, okay, if something were to happen, we would know well in advance that it was coming. I've said before that I feel that and I've in discussions with people that I feel one of the things that we are susceptible to is cyber. One of the things that we're susceptible to is cyber. Now I know you're gonna be like, what does this have to do with anything? As a father, I believe it is up to us to prepare our families, and sometimes that's having these difficult conversations. What does a cyber attack look like, guys? Do y'all realize how much we are dependent on technology? Like it. Let's not even discuss a countrywide outage. Let's just talk about a region. Do you guys know what would happen if cell phone service went away? Like I remember 9/11 vividly, especially being here in the DC region. Cell phones didn't work for hours because the network was overloaded. That's when I really began to understand how fragile this system is, right? Do we know how you hear anybody says when an attack happens, the first thing you do is take control of communications. Things happen. But as dads, like, are we prepared for that? Like, are we preparing our families? Are we prepping? Are we doing little things? And nobody likes to talk about these things. But if something happens, everybody's going to look at you as dad. Like, what are we doing? So I've started to let you guys know what I'm doing. I've started to just kind of on paper put some things together. Okay, with the kids, this is kind of our plan. If this happens, we'll do this. If that happens, we'll do that. What do we do if we can't use our cell phones? What type of equipment are we putting in the house? These are just all added things that I believe, and I know, like when I started 300 Fathers, I knew that this wasn't going to be like just typical feel good conversations all the time. I knew we would have to have those difficult conversations with each other. But as dads, I think in everything that we're doing, we have to prepare because we've seen instances on social media. We can't even survive if social media goes down. Like not just social media, but a couple of sites like Instagram and Facebook goes down. The whole world goes up or the whole country goes up in a frenzy, right? And we're watching people on the other side of the world who are literally dodging bombs. Our society is built on information and communication. If that's cut, what do we do for our families? How do we reach our families? Are we talking to, our family members, putting a game plan in place? What do we have in our houses? For our family. I know you're like, everything looks good. We're coming out of a pandemic. Why are we talking about this? It's because, guys, I really feel that it's been on my heart for a long time. It's been on my heart through the whole pandemic, even before that. But what are we doing to prepare? What are we doing to solidify our communications? Like, I tell you guys, both of our kids have cell phones, but we got them cell phones where they can only talk on it and they can only send text messages. They can't send images and all that. They can't get on the internet. And it's just for communication purposes, right? Because I understand the power of putting something like this in their hand and what that does and the information and it just puts the whole world in their hand. And I'm not ready for that yet. But we did know mainly for school pickups and different things like that, or when they have practices and everything, and even for emergency situations, use your cell phone, right? There are things out here where you can get devices that necessarily don't put the whole internet in their hand, right? Again, what do you do if your cell phone goes down? What do you do for those that still have home phones? What do you do if that goes down? Like we're not prepared. I don't know many people in my circle that are really prepared. And so I've started having these challenging conversations. My heart goes out to the people in Ukraine. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I don't care what you really believe in. You should believe in humanity. And there are people out here that when we start breaking this thing down, when it goes beyond politics and all that, it's about the human race. And there are people out here that feel differently than you do. There are people that don't value life as much as you do. And as fathers, like, that's going to fall on us. We can talk to some of our elders and see what the tough times would be like, but they've gone through bad stuff. I'm not hardly diminishing that, but they haven't even gone through like some of the stuff that we could potentially face. That's what's been on my heart, guys. Like, what am I doing? Am I going out here? Are we watching the Super Bowl? Are we about to watch, March Madness? The NBA finals are coming up and we're just out here partying, having a good time. And then there are people on the other side of the world who are literally sleeping in subway tunnels trying to avoid bombs. I know that's extreme, right? But those, even though they might not be Americans, they are human beings. Their life matters. There are fathers that are not with their wives and their children right now. It's terrible. I just think we have a lot of things in place in this country. Even though I enjoy them, I think we have a lot of things in place in this country that kind of keep us numb. I think the Matrix was really ahead of its time. The more and more things go on, I really understand that movie more and more. There are a lot of things out here that we're just not paying attention to, and we need to prepare for. So I don't have all the answers right now. I don't have my plan fully laid out, but I wanted to get this message out there for dads. Like, this is not about your career. This is not about like necessarily your marriage. Not about how much you love your kids. It is about how much you love your kids, but this is about preparing your family, right? We got to stop just going by what everybody tells us, right? And I'm not trying to present this side against this side, but think about things. We've seen little things happen that really just threw us off our game. We didn't know how to respond. When I think it was in 2021, when Facebook and Instagram went down, man, we lost our minds. Now, I'm a photographer by trade. That's what I do. That's my business. I'm in media, right? And even me, I noticed how much we are uploading all of our family memories to social media, platforms that we don't own. Those sites go away tomorrow. Our lives and memories go away with them. So that's why I've been telling people, start printing your work. Get stuff up in your homes. Get back to physical prints. I'm up here now looking at different papers and different things like that for prints I want to get from my home. You're not going to be able to pass down Facebook to your kids. Like, I'm even, and to be honest with you guys, I'm even looking to have an episode on education where I can get some educators on here, because there are things happening in our school system that we can talk about progress and things getting better, but there are things happening in our school system. If we really look at the core of it, it's not right. A lot of things these kids are not doing that they should be doing, as far as the amount of things that they're reading, how they're studying, textbooks, everything's digital now. Our kids right now, and nobody's going to say this, but I'm going to say it. Our kids right now are guinea pigs. They're the first generation to really go through this whole digital conversion to where we're going from the old way to the new way. They're trying it out with our kids. Like, it's not there yet. They're still figuring this stuff out, whether it's, okay, we want to teach them this, or we want to teach them Common Core. What we need to always be aware of what's going on and to keep our finger on the pulse of our families and what's taking place once they leave outside of the four walls of our home. I don't want this video to sound like I'm rambling, because there are a lot of different things that I could unpack that I don't want to do it in this episode, but it will be coming in future episodes. But guys, prepare, get things in order. Like, have your strategies, have your exit strategies, have your The biggest one for me, I think, is a communication strategy when you're preparing for anything. And see, and here's how fragile this thing is. I'm not even talking about an aerial attack or something like Ukraine is experiencing now. They can hack things and take all of our stuff down. And if you affect communication, can you imagine if you're someplace, your wife is someplace, your kids is in another place, and communication goes down and you can't communicate with your family? Do you know what type of confusion that causes that most of us are not ready for? I don't even think it takes a lot of money to do this. A lot of it's just planning, getting pieces of equipment at your disposal, having a plan so you can communicate. How does food look? Things we got to talk about, guys. Yeah, we live in a great country here in the U.S. of A. We do. But at the same time, we're not on an island where we can't be touched. That's how we live our life. That's how a lot of us are treating our families. Like, okay, everybody's good. They leave the house. Kids will be good. I'll see them this evening. Or my wife will be good. I'll see her, later on. I'm going to go do my thing. And we don't put any other thought into it. There's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that we're not paying attention to. And we can't control any of that. But the one thing that we can do is be in control of our homes, be in control of our actions and our plans, and hopefully put our families in a position that they can continue to thrive no matter what happens. But the biggest thing, the thing that's on the top of mind right now for me, that's on my heart with you guys, the number one thing that I think everybody should do in this plan of preparation is have a communication strategy. Figure that out. If these phones go down, these cell phones go down, these house phones go down, office phones, whatever, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? All right. Look, I wanted to get that off my chest. This was going to be an audio-only podcast. Like, you know what? I'm just going to cut the thing on, record. But I feel as though I'm trying to get more consistent with all this stuff. And my plan is to also have a YouTube strategy as well. So we cut everything on so we could upload this to YouTube, probably put clips on Instagram, etc. Remember to stay connected with us. We are going to be putting something out soon we're going to start our email list. I want you to subscribe to the email list so we can let you know when new episodes are out. We can also let you know about our upcoming events, just kind of keep you abreast of everything that's going on with 300 Fathers. I have some exciting news coming down the pipe probably within the next month and a half. Can't speak on it yet because I want to get it physically in my hands before I actually tell you guys about it. But I'm super excited. Thanks so much for all that you guys do. Thank you for your support. If there's topics that you want us to cover, make sure you let us know, and we'll catch you in the next episode. All right? Take care. Thank you for listening to another episode of the High Performance Fatherhood Podcast. For questions, comments, or suggestions, feel free to email us at podcast@300fathers.com.